In this video, there's a North Korean soldier who's fed up with Kim Jong's policies and is trying to escape by driving fast across the North Korean border. He knows that he might be killed or wounded in the process. We'll talk about what pushed him to take such a risky step later. Now, why is North Korea known as the biggest jail in the world? And why is it impossible to escape alive from this country? Let's explore that. Welcome to another intriguing video from the Golden Mindset. Leaving North Korea without permission is seen as betrayal by Kim Jong. The minimum punishment for this is life imprisonment, and the maximum is death. Even moving from one province to another in North Korea is considered illegal. Many organizations believe that North Korea has the worst human rights record globally. Every male in North Korea has to serve in the Korean army for at least 10 years. There is no free speech in this country, as the entire media is controlled by the state. It is the only country where even the relatives of someone who has committed a crime are also punished. In 2009, a 2-year-old kid was sentenced to life imprisonment simply because a Bible was found with his parents. Following any religion is also considered a crime in North Korea. It's very challenging for any foreigner to enter this country. If a foreigner is granted permission, they are closely monitored throughout their trip. They can only visit places that the ruling regime wants to showcase to the world. Sometimes, foreigners are even shot dead if they go against the law, as happened with Otto Warmbier. Otto Warmbier, a US citizen, visited North Korea in 2015. He was arrested in 2016 for allegedly removing a propaganda poster from the government in his hotel room. Initially sentenced to 15 years of imprisonment, he later fell into a coma in the prison camp. He was sent back to America in June 2017, when he passed away a few days later due to brain injuries. The treatment he received in North Korea remains unknown to this day. Because of all these factors, North Korea is considered a vast prison where people live as slaves even after gaining independence. This is why North Korean people often try to escape, but it's not easy. The major obstacle is North Korea's geography. To the west is the Yellow Sea, and to the east is the Sea of Japan, where Navy ships maintain a strong guard, preventing other boats from approaching. To the south is South Korea, one of North Korea's biggest enemies, leading to strict surveillance and guarding in the sea around South Korea as well. For the people of North Korea, there is no better option than escaping to South Korea. This is not just because South Korea is a free and developed country, but also because South Korea considers North Koreans as its own citizens. If someone manages to cross the DMZ line from North to South Korea, it can change their life, but only if they succeed in reaching there alive. The border between North and South Korea is heavily guarded by a massive North Korean army, making it nearly impossible for anyone to cross. In this 2017 video, a North Korean soldier was speeding his jeep toward the South Korean border. When border guards discovered it, they chased and fired at him. Fortunately, he did manage to enter South Korea, albeit after being hit by many bullets. In the evening, South Korean soldiers arrived and took him into custody. Many North Korean civilians have attempted such escapes. Unfortunately, most of them died before crossing, and those who did manage to cross often couldn't survive due to severe bullet injuries inflicted by North Koreans. Attempting to escape directly to South Korea is akin to inviting death, as North Korea has deployed over 750,000 soldiers around the border. Additionally, there are barbed wire fences and landmines spread throughout the area, making the journey extremely perilous. Another historical way to enter South Korea is by escaping from the northern border of North Korea. The major part of the northern border is with China, while a small part also borders Russia. This method is relatively easier but still filled with difficult hurdles. Since North Korea doesn't face any war threats from China or Russia, military deployment is minimal in this region. However, the entire 1,300 km border is packed with dangerous mountains and dense forests. Additionally, the Tumen and Yalu rivers in China flow along the Chinese border part of North Korea, posing another significant challenge for those attempting to cross. Defectors and smudders often waited for winters when these rivers freeze, allowing them to cross the border by simply walking over the ice. Similarly, this method worked in peak summers when the river water levels reduced to a minimum. However, the hazard didn't end for the defectors even after reaching China or Russia. North Korea has a military alliance with both countries, meaning that if any defector was caught, they were immediately handed over to North Korean authorities. The fate that awaited them in North Korea is not difficult to imagine. Even after reaching China or Russia, the task wasn't over for the defectors. They had to escape to a safe country by crossing the border again. Myanmar and Laos, located to the south of China, also send defectors back to North Korea if found. The only options remaining for the defectors were Thailand, Vietnam, and Mongolia, which share their borders with China. These countries were considered safe for defectors because, as South Korea recognizes them as citizens, they would send them back to South Korea instead of North Korea. Defectors strategically planned to escape first to Russia or China and then cross to Thailand, Mongolia, or Vietnam. There, they would voluntarily surrender to the authorities and be boarded onto a ship headed for South Korea, where they could begin their new life. Since 1990, approximately 34,000 defectors have successfully reached South Korea. During that time, North Korea had the support of the Soviet Union. But after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the support ended and the United States began imposing various sanctions on North Korea. At this point, the situation in North Korea became so dire that people struggled to eat, drink, and survive. It's estimated that around 3,500,000 people died due to the unavailability of basic necessities during this period. This hardship prompted many to consider running away after 1991. The number of defectors continued to rise with each passing year, even after the removal of sanctions. In 2009, the defector count reached a record high of 3,000 in a single year. The count remained high in 2010 and 2011, but in 2012, something happened that led to a 50% reduction in the defector count. The ruler who had governed North Korea since 1994 passed away in 2011, and his son, Kim Jong Un, took over. Immediately after taking power, Kim Jong tightened control over smugglers and defectors. Signal jammers were installed along the northern border, and intelligence monitoring was increased. Barbed fences were erected, and border patrolling intensified. Additionally, Kim Jong collaborated with China and Russia to enhance security on their respective sides of the border. Consequently, China also installed a surveillance system along the border. These changes made it extremely difficult for defectors to escape to China. The brokers who assisted them in crossing the Chinese border also significantly increased their charges. For instance, Chinese brokers who charged $2,000 per defector in 2007 were charging $15,000 per defector in 2017 due to the heightened security measures. A typical North Korean worker, earning around $2,000 annually, found it nearly impossible to gather such a large sum to escape from North Korea. This is the main reason why the number of defectors started to decline after 2012 when Kim Jong-un came to power. In 2019, only 1,000 defectors were successful in their attempts to escape. However, events in 2020 have now made it impossible for anyone to escape from North Korea. After the first covered case broke out in China in 2019, North Korea became the first country in the world to close all its borders, aiming to prevent any cases of COVID from reaching North Korea. It was strictly forbidden to leave North Korea through any means. This measure was crucial for North Korea, as 42% of the population still did not have proper access to food, meaning their immune systems lacked the strength to withstand COVID-19. Additionally, in August 2020, the North Korean military issued shoot-to-kill orders to the Northern Border Patrol, granting them full authority to use lethal force against anyone attempting to cross the borders. This directive has resulted in an almost negligible number of defectors in the last 3 years, turning North Korea into a country that resembles a large prison. In this nation, no one can practice any religion, and contact with the outside world is strictly prohibited. Access to global platforms like Google, Facebook, and YouTube is extremely limited. The internet is primarily available in government offices, and the accessible websites are exclusively government-created. Locally manufactured mobile phones are used, equipped with software that monitors every user activity. North Korea stands as the only country in the world about which the outside world remains largely unaware of the happenings within its borders. Executions in North Korea differ from traditional hangings. Instead, firing squads are employed to carry out executions, often conducted in public view. Those attempting to communicate with individuals in South Korea face the risk of execution as well. The global community can witness these events, but no substantial actions can be taken due to the transfer of nuclear technology from the Soviet Union to North Korea. Even a powerful nation like America finds itself limited in dealing with North Korea, resorting primarily to imposing sanctions as a means of influence. The unique geopolitical circumstances have created a situation where external intervention is severely constrained. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and we encourage you to share it with your friends. Take good care of yourself and stay tuned for our upcoming videos. Until next time, cultivate and embrace a golden mindset.